my geniuses. How are you doing? My geniuses, with me today is an effervescent, dynamic, vibrant, powerful speaker and leader. Known as the Teacher's Champion, he's still the youngest president the JTA has ever had. This man believes in nation building through the power of education. So much so that he was awarded by the Prime Minister of Jamaica. My geniuses, please help me to welcome Mr. Clayton Hall. Good evening, Mr. Hall. How are you?
Good evening. I am great.
Oh, thank you so very much for joining me on my program.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Hall, I know you are a champion for education. Therefore, it is indeed a privilege to have you on. Please tell me, where are you from, Mr. Hall?
Yes, I am originally a Portlander. I was born in Buff Bay and attended I've heard of. It's called Fairfield All Age School.
Okay.
That's in the foothills of the Blue Mountain in a community called the Bangor Ridge.
Oh, Bangor Ridge. I read in an article that you never attended preschool. Why is this so? Talk to me about that.
Well, my granny, who I have lived with since I was 11 months old, she
Yes.
was a school administrator,
Okay.
and I began attending primary school at the age of 11 months old.
Wow, 11 months. My geniuses, you see why this man had to come on? He was born a genius, 11 months, not even 1 year old. All right, we're going to get more into that. But what is your earliest memory of school? Because 11 months old, I know you couldn't have remembered much then. What is your
Well,
earliest memory?
I recall, well, the school was really my playground.
Yes.
I recall going to school at a very early age. Mrs. Mack and Mrs. Carby, they they really taught lower school, and much of the time I would be on a pillow on a desk beside Miss Mack or Miss Carby. So I really recall those two ladies really looking out for me while I was a youngster.
Okay, he was a school's baby. Which high school did you attend? And tell me a little about that.
Titchfield High School. I passed the common entrance at 11. I had moved from Fairfield to Buff Bay Primary.
Yes.
And at that time, I had completed grade 6 by the time I was 10.
Wow.
But then when I moved to Buff Bay Primary, based on age, I was placed back at grade 4. But then I wanted to do the common entrance then. My grade 4 teacher, Miss Yvonne Franklin, who later went on to be the principal of Buff Bay Primary, she taught me common entrance at her desk while she taught the rest of the class grade 4.
Yeah.
And I passed for Titchfield that year.
Wow, beautiful. I know Titchfield is one of those great traditional schools. Everybody talk about one Titch, and they've been in school challenge quiz so many times. So how do you feel
Well,
about them being your alma mater?
Titchfield is actually the most beautiful school in the world. It is the only school that has the beach on 3 sides. And I know that people from Rossies talk about having the beach. Unfortunately, it is only on 2 sides at Rossies, but we are on the peninsula, and as such, we are almost completely surrounded by the sea.
It is indeed beautiful. I visited when I was at Case. Now, talk to me, Mr. Hall. Which college did you go to?
The Mico. Yes, you should also recognize that while I'm sure you're happy having gone to Case, the Mico is the only college that is worth mentioning as an educator. But
You know
that's
what?
a story for another time.
And you know
I
what? I am not even going to fight with you about the Michael, the Michael. Since you're my guest, Mr. Hall, I am going to be nice to you and I am not going to tell you what makes Case the best college in Jamaica. But you know
all
what?
right.
You have work tomorrow, so let us get on with this. After college, where did you teach?
I I actually taught before I went to college.
Oh, talk
I
about that.
I taught pre-trained at a school called Avocat Primary and Junior High School.
Oh,
That is in Balcarres, Portland. And I taught there. Then I went to Mico to do the diploma. Went back to Avocat. So I actually taught at Avocat between 1995 and 20 2014. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. What was your life like growing up? Talk to me a little about that.
Well, I really enjoyed the childhood.
Yes.
I grew up with my granny, Myrtle Grant, and there is one particular thing that I will never forget about her.
Tell me.
She made me believe that I was the best thing there ever was. And I have recognized now as an adult that it gave me the confidence to
Yes.
approach things, to try things, to venture into new areas, to take on obstacles, because I knew that if I failed, it really meant that I should try harder. It meant that I should do something else. It meant that there was something I didn't really pay keen attention to. But it
Yeah.
was never that I wasn't good enough. I
Yes.
was always good enough.
I
My
like
granny made sure of that.
I know she's deceased, but I like what she stood for because with confidence you can accomplish the world. All right, talk to me. Which school were you first assigned principal to?
My first principal job was Mount Hermon Primary and Junior High School,
Yes.
2000, 2000, 2005. Yes, 2005
Okay.
in Portland.
All right. Um, Clayton, it's okay to call you Clayton, right?
Certainly.
Clayton, you were principal for one of the toughest schools in Jamaica. How did you get those children at Spanish Town High to conform? Because I remember going there for J.T.A meetings and it wasn't the same as previous years when I went there because I used to be scared. But when you were the principal, it felt as if it was a school. How did you do that?
I tell you, the children all over
Yes,
require somebody to believe in them.
yes,
When I just started out at the oasis of intelligence, the understanding as to what was their purpose there was
yeah,
a little out. So it took me a while to get the students in the frame of mind of understanding what was their purpose there and the fact that they could do anything
yeah,
that they wanted to do. I would share stories of my early schooling where I attended a school that didn't have electricity, that if I wanted a book, I would have to take the bus into Tom Redcom in Kingston in
yeah,
order to do studies for A levels,
yeah,
because that information was difficult. I began calling them ladies and gentlemen,
yes,
and it first started out as a joke. They would laugh at me, but I would never laugh back
yes,
because that was my intent.
yes,
So there is an adage that says children really don't care how much you know, how much you care. Every child at Spanish Town High School was my child, and
yeah,
it was my intent to see them achieve the best that they could. And might I tell you that those children were exceptionally talented.
yes. Wow. Well, you did a great job. Kudos to you, sir. Even the tone in Spanish Town changed when you were the principal of Spanish Town High School. Now, Clayton, first class honors.
Because
Go ahead.
you have to recognize that if you are from the oasis of intelligence,
Yes,
then your behavior, demeanor, dress, and deportment will have to reflect that.
yes. Yes, even their dress code changed. And definitely so. I remember Miss McCoy, one of my friends, telling me, so you're dressed, so you're perceived, and so you're perceived, so you're treated. So you calling them gentlemen and gentlewomen, I guess it impacted on them positively, and they started behaving as such. No, Clayton, first class honors in history from UWI. You genius. Share your bachelor's story with us.
I well, I tell you, my initial intent in education was actually to go into law, but after sixth form at Titchfield, I was not able to afford law school at
Yeah,
the particular time. My granny had retired before I went to high school,
yes,
because when she retired, I went to grade 4. I was 10,
yeah,
and that caused me to scope some other options. She, being an educator, got me a job pre-trained, and I initially intended to work for 2 years, then go off and study leave to do law.
yes,
I got caught by the education bug, and I have never looked back. But history is my passion.
yes. Okay,
History is my passion, and when I went to university, many things came together, and I had a very good time.
okay. All right, beautiful. Well, you are a genius, and I'm happy that you're on my program. You have been awarded by the Prime Minister for education. In fact, you're part of their, what, 2030 vision for Jamaica, the place to grow, live, raise
Place to
children,
live,
and do businesses.
to
Talk to
live,
me about
work,
that.
raise families, do business, and retire. We're
See
adding the retirement part to it.
his words, guys.
Well, those words were actually the words of my predecessor, Paul Adams, while he was
Okay.
president of the J.T.A., and I adopted them. But the award is specifically to 40 educators
Yes,
who would have served the Jamaica. And the award is called the Prime Minister's Medal of Appreciation for Service to Education.
yes,
It is generally given to persons who would have worked their entire life in education, most likely at the back end of their sojourn. But there are a number of us who would have received it at an almost young age.
yes. Okay, well, beautiful. Congratulations again. You have been the youngest president the JTA has had to date. How do you feel about that? How does it make you feel?
Well, I have almost grown accustomed to being referred to as a youngster. I became principal at the age of 29. And when I became principal, within the cluster that
Yeah,
I served, my grade 4 teacher was also principal. The same Miss Franklin, who turned my life around and assisted me in getting into Titchfield. I had the distinct pleasure of serving in the same cluster with her as principal
beautiful.
of Buffalo Primary. So I have recognized that there are a number of things that I would have done quickly. Also, to recall that during the time when I wanted to move into administration, many of my friends really laughed at me that year, because they were, even though we had attained the qualification required, they never saw themselves or felt that they would be principals.
Yes,
And very fortunately, that year I was offered four jobs
yes,
as principal.
beautiful.
So I was able to actually choose one
Yes.
which I thought was best for me.
I know you credit to your grandmother. You've mentioned her about 3 times since you've been on my program. So you credit her for your strong educational foundation. What about your parents? How do they feel about your success?
They are in fact very proud,
Yeah.
and the fact is, I think that my parents really never had much of a say in the operations, because my granny is the matriarch of the family and the big bad woman. Nobody goes against her.
Yes.
My mother had me very young when she was 18,
Okay.
and my granny decided that I was hers,
Yes.
and I remained hers for the rest of my life.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, Clayton. Now I know that you believe so much in education and giving back that you serve on a number of boards in Jamaica. I know that you served on the NHT National Housing Trust. I don't know if you're still serving there. And you also serve TIP, Teachers Income Protector, on their board. Tell me about some of the other boards that you're serving on presently.
Well, the most memorable,
Yes.
I served I served on the Jamaica 50 Planning Committee.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. Wow, impressive.
And and at that time I was also the youngster on the board.
Yes,
And as you have mentioned, the NHT, I serve as a volunteer at the J.T.A Cooperative Credit Union,
okay.
and a tip friendly society where I am the treasurer. I am also second vice president for the Mico Old Students Association. Now, we will not say anything more about the Mico, except to say that it is a worthwhile organization, and our aim is to assist current students as much as is possible so that we can get them the help required to advance themselves and hopefully contribute to development of this nation.
Okay.
I I have also served as a volunteer on the Portland Cooperative Credit Union, with the Portland Cooperative Credit Union and with the Portland Environment Protection Agency.
Yes, beautiful. How do you even get time to be involved in so many things? And you're one human being.
Well, the fact is, many persons would be of the would are of the view that I am not very organized, but I have my own form of organization,
Yes,
and it has served me well.
there's a method to the madness, right?
Method to the madness. I know where the things are once I put them where they are supposed to be. They may not look neat. They may
Yes.
not be in a filed of process, but I know where they are and I know how to get them.
Okay. While you were JTA president, you were known as a teacher's defenders because you thought for once that the school boards were hard on teachers. Tell me about that. Why are you so passionate towards defending teachers, which I like?
Well, I I am of the view that if if criminals if a criminal is charged with 4 or 5 counts of anything,
Yes,
even after they have been found guilty on 3 previous counts,
yes,
they deserve representation on the third or the other count.
yes,
In the same way, I have come to recognize that our societal changes have impacted teachers negatively. To just point out, while I was a young teacher in Avocat, I would take students from school and I would take them out of the community into Buff Bay
yeah,
to my home, where they would overnight, both males and females. And we would leave there like 3 a.m. in the morning, where I would drive them down to Hanover to Nakalva Agricultural School
yeah,
for them to do the entry test there. After that would be finished, we would then go back to Buff Bay. At that time, we would have to overnight again
yeah,
before I take them back to Balcarres. I have come to realize that this kind of assistance that I would have given to many students, many of whom are now teachers,
yes,
if a teacher does that now, that teacher would go to jail
yeah,
because of the societal adjustments
yes,
that have happened. So what I find is that many teachers, especially the more senior ones, have gotten into the situation where they help students without thinking.
Yeah.
So they would give them bus fare, they would give them lunch money, they
True.
would buy shoes and clothes and so forth for them. Unfortunately, the law has changed, and doing that is now a criminal offense
Yes.
called sexual grooming.
Yeah.
While many of these teachers, I am not saying
Yeah.
that there aren't unscrupulous ones among us,
Yes.
but the majority of the teachers who I have worked with and I have known are persons who are doing the best they can to help tomorrow's generation. And they, if they do that altruistically, it is important that when they run afoul of the current laws,
Yes.
that they are defended.
Yeah. I like that. Thank you. I would vote for you again to be JTA's president. Serve another term. You were a good president, and of course, I was contact teacher at my school, and my teachers voted for you at Old Harbor Primary School.
Thank you. Thank you kindly.
Now, Clayton, do your kids see you as the star you are, or just their regular dad?
Well, I think I'm just a regular dad. My son Kamal, while I was president, he was young,
Yes.
and he once asked, "Daddy, are you famous?"
Yes.
Yes.
Of
But
course, I hope you
for
told me yes.
for most parts, I am just plain whole dad.
Okay. All right. So, what is your present role? What's your present position?
I am regional officer for the J.T.A for Western Jamaica. I manage the parishes of Trelawney, Hanover, St. James, and Westmoreland.
Yeah.
So I try to roll out the services of the Teachers Association to the teachers in that area.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. Now, what have you pursued your master's in, and what is next for Clayton?
Well, the master's was done in educational leadership
Yes.
at Nova Southeastern University,
Okay.
and that too I think was a very rewarding experience. I managed to end with a GPA of 3.9. I've recently commenced a EDD program with Temple University.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I will be able to manage that level of academic attainment because of the heightened workload.
You can.
Or it may be just that COVID has thrown some spokes in the wheel, but I am certain I will push through.
You will, because you're addicted to education. He believes strongly in the power of education. See, the man is addicted to it. And that's how I want you to be, my geniuses. With education, you can conquer the world. Now, Clayton, do you feel fulfilled?
I am.
Yeah.
I tell you, I may not get fame or fortune. I may, but every day that I see a student whose life I've touched.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, I love to travel,
Yes.
and it is one time in my life that I sat in first class. I was on a trip back from the US, and I saw one of my students who was the hostess, and
Wow.
she promoted me to first class. Yeah.
Beautiful. That is one reward of teaching. That's why we teach, guys, to see you being a success. That's
Yes.
beautiful.
But when you see your students and you know that you would have impacted their lives and you see them making positive contributions to society, it
Yeah.
is indeed very, very fulfilling.
All right. There are many people watching this interview. In fact, I have over 1,800 subscribers, but I know many more visit and they watch this interview. What would you tell them about the power of education? Why is it that education is so powerful?
Education is, in fact, the only true equalizer there is across this nation. It
Yes.
really, and across the world, it really doesn't matter where you are from. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic background is. It doesn't matter who you are, who you know, how you look. Education is that pivotal fulcrum. It is the source
Yes.
from which you can attain all things. And I can tell you, as a country boy from Bangaridge, when I became president of the JTA, and I was invited to sit in the general and all those things, it is only through education that I was able to attain those heights. And I believe that how or where we are now in Jamaica, every child has the opportunity to attain that level. I
Yes.
also want to point out that the students I see now are much better, much brighter than we were when
Yes.
we were children. I
Yes.
say it every day. If we thought we were geniuses, we just need to look at these little ones now. They
So true.
blow your mind.
So true. They have taught me many things even since I have migrated. Speaking of migration, have you ever thought about migrating? You're so powerful. You've done so much for Jamaica. Have you ever thought about it?
I have considered migration from time to time,
Yes.
but I really love home. Yes, I like traveling to foreign places, strange places, but I like to stay for 2 weeks.
Okay.
After that, I get homesick.
Oh,
Yes.
home is where the
If if
heart
if
is.
if I had if I really had money, I
Yes.
would live for 6 months. I would live for 6 months in Jamaica, and then I wouldn't spend a month anywhere else in the world. So
Wow.
I would really travel.
Yes. You'll get the money. You have a good heart. I feel it coming. Woo, bravo. How do you want to be remembered, Clayton?
I would love to be remembered as someone who did the best they could to help others, and that society was made better because I participated.
All right, we're coming down. That's so beautiful, Clayton. What has been your greatest regret?
My greatest regret in life
Yes.
is that my granny didn't live long enough to see me become principal.
Uh-oh, don't make me cry.
Yeah.
Well, I guess she's looking down from the heavens and she's extremely proud of you. What are your final words, Clayton?
I want to thank you for the job you are doing. The Because it is in sharing good news and positive messages that we all learn to push ourselves to the next level. So I would encourage all your listeners to get somebody else to watch Reading Unlimited.
Yay.
I want to tell them, to your geniuses, that if you believe in yourself and if you believe in education, and it is not just believe, because the Bible says faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
You have to do it. You have to now do the work. The educational opportunities that are there require you to go for it and take them. If you believe and if you do, then what you will achieve will astound even you. You will be remembered for making an indelible mark on this world, one child at a time, one person at a time.
Wow. Excellently said. Mr. Clayton Hall, I want to thank you so very much for gracing us on Reading Unlimited with your presence. You will always be my president. I appreciate you and I admire you for the work that you're doing for Jamaica. Thank you so very much for coming on my program. My
My,
geniuses, my
my pleasure.
geniuses. I hope that you've been looking in that mirror. I hope that you're telling yourself you're smart, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, you're kind. Nothing is impossible. Please be kind to yourself. But in so doing, be kind to others. And if you have nothing good to say about people, please say absolutely nothing at all. Have yourselves a great day. Bye.